The first thing I heard was my brother's laugh, muffled, intimate, too close to the microphone. I stood in the dark utility room, surrounded by humming wires and dust, watching the blue progress bar crawl forward like it was afraid of what came next. The house was asleep. My wife's slippers were still by the door. Her phone was charging on the nightstand. Everything looked normal. That's what hurt the most. The camera angle shifted. A familiar hallway. My hallway. The guest room we never used except for storage and visiting family. The room I'd installed a small camera in months ago. Not for paranoia, I told myself, but for peace. Because sometimes peace needs proof. On the screen, my wife leaned against the doorframe, barefoot, relaxed. She didn't look guilty. She looked comfortable. My brother stepped into frame, adjusting his cufflinks like this was routine, like this was rehearsal, like he belonged there. My chest tightened, not with rage, but with a strange, surgical calm, the kind that descends right before a storm, when the air feels wrong and your body knows something irreversible has begun. I didn't stop the video. I didn't flinch. I just watched. And in that moment, something inside me didn't break. It sharpened. I didn't scream. I didn't throw anything. I didn't wake her up and demand explanations she'd already rehearsed in her head. I sat on the cold floor and let the footage play. Minutes turned into hours. Different days, different clothes. Same room, same routine. Familiar touches, intimate pauses. Secrets moving freely in a house I paid for. I noticed details I never would have before. How she checked the hallway before closing the door. How he never used her name, only pet ones. How neither of them looked afraid. That's when denial tried to crawl in. This must be old. This must be edited. This must be something else. But my mind rejected those lies instantly. I knew their rhythms. I knew my wife's body language better than anyone. I knew my brother's voice. I'd grown up inside it. The betrayal wasn't just physical, it was structural. They had built something inside my life without my consent, inside my family, inside my bloodline. Down the hall, my wife shifted in her sleep. I didn't go to her. I didn't touch her. I just sat there, replaying the footage, letting every frame burn into a place that would never heal, but would never forget. I realized something then. They thought I was passive. They thought silence meant ignorance. They were wrong. The next weeks were a performance. I kissed her goodbye every morning. I laughed at my brother's jokes. I held his kids at family dinners. I poured wine for his wife and asked about her day. Inside, I was cataloging everything. Dates, times, patterns. I pulled phone records under the excuse of switching providers, cross-referenced gaps, noticed how her gym days aligned perfectly with his late meetings. I checked bank statements, small hotel charges disguised as business lunches, cash withdrawals on days she claimed to be shopping. I added a second camera, then a third. I never confronted them, never hinted, never slipped. That's the mistake people make. They rush toward truth like it owes them mercy. I let truth come to me, slowly, completely. Every night I watched the footage alone. No alcohol, no music, just the quiet hum of evidence stacking itself into something undeniable. My anger didn't explode, it condensed. By the time Sunday brunch came around, her parents, my brother, his wife, kids running through the yard, I was calm enough to host, calm enough to smile, calm enough to destroy them. Brunch was perfect. Sunlight on white plates, fresh fruit, laughter, my wife's hand resting on my arm like muscle memory. I stood to refill drinks. Instead, I connected my phone to the living room TV. No announcement, no warning. The screen lit up. The footage began. My wife froze first, then my brother. The room went silent except for the unmistakable sounds of their secret life playing at full volume. Her mother gasped. Her father stood so fast his chair tipped backward. My brother's wife stared at the screen, unmoving, like her body hadn't received the message yet. I didn't look at any of them. I watched the truth do what it always does when finally released. It found its targets. My wife sobbed. My brother tried to speak. Words collapsed in his mouth. I turned the TV off. That was enough. I didn't show everything, I said calmly. Just enough. No one interrupted me. They didn't make a mistake, I continued. They made a system. They thought I was outside it. Her father stepped toward her, rage in his eyes. Not at me. My brother's wife rose next, slowly, deliberately. She didn't scream, she didn't cry. She just looked at him like a stranger and said, "You're dead to me." That was the moment I felt it. Not triumph, release. I handed a folder to her father, copies, dates, screenshots, everything. Then I picked up my coat. I already filed for divorce, I said, and no one here needs to ask me anything ever again. I walked out while they were still collapsing. I don't think about forgiveness. That's for people who want to stay connected to the wound. I think about clarity. I think about how silence, when used correctly, becomes a weapon sharper than rage. They lost more than I did. They lost control of the narrative. They lost the lie that protected them. I didn't fight back. I didn't need to. I told the truth, and then I left them inside it.